Born in 1966 in the gritty neighborhoods of New York City, Michael Gerald Tyson, better known to the world as Mike Tyson, rose from a troubled childhood filled with crime, hardship, and unimaginable loss to become one of the most electrifying athletes in sports history. Abandoned by a stable home life and thrust into a world of street fights and petty crimes, Tyson's life changed forever when he crossed paths with legendary trainer Cus D'Amato. Not just a mentor, D'Amato became Tyson's legal guardian, providing the discipline, training, and emotional support that transformed a lost teenager into a focused warrior. Tyson's raw power and frightening speed made him a standout in the boxing world, and by the age of 20, he made history as the youngest heavyweight champion of all time, a record that still stands today. But this meteoric rise was anything but smooth. Behind the scenes, Tyson was a complex figure, an unstoppable force in the ring, yet deeply vulnerable outside it. Underneath the title belts and highlight reel knockouts was a man still battling his inner demons, shaped by a past filled with abandonment, street violence, and the trauma of losing his mother at just 16. Even at the peak of his fame, Tyson's face bore the intensity of someone who had survived more than most could imagine. Yet, none of that stopped him from becoming a global sensation. With his intimidating stare, explosive punches, and a reputation as the baddest man on the planet, Tyson didn't just win fights. He shook the foundations of the sport itself. His bouts became must-see spectacles. His fame reached every corner of the globe, and his story of redemption through brutality made him an icon. But as history would show, Tyson's legendary rise would only be the beginning of one of the most dramatic, chaotic, and ultimately redemptive stories in sports history. And just when the world thought they'd seen the best of Mike Tyson, the next chapter would take a turn no one could have predicted. Asterisk. As Mike Tyson's star soared in the boxing world, so did the chaos that followed him outside the ring. His dominance between the ropes was matched only by the turbulence in his personal life. While fans celebrated his unmatched aggression and knockout power, the media couldn't look away from the controversies that kept unfolding like chapters in a cautionary tale. The most infamous moment came in 1997, when during a rematch against Evander Holyfield, Tyson shocked the world by biting off a piece of his opponent's ear, leading to his disqualification and months of ridicule. But even that outrageous moment wasn't the lowest point of his career. 5 years earlier, in 1992, Tyson had been convicted of sexual abuse and served 3 years in prison, a conviction that sent shockwaves across the sports world and stained his legacy irreversibly. Despite his release and attempt at a comeback, the scars of his past followed him relentlessly. Just as damaging as the public scandals was his toxic financial entanglement with his infamous manager Don King, a man who reportedly siphoned millions from Tyson's earnings while cloaking it in friendship and business deals. Tyson's name became synonymous not just with boxing greatness, but with public meltdowns, courtroom battles, and a struggle for self-control that seemed to rage as fiercely as any of his championship bouts. The once invincible fighter now found himself facing opponents he couldn't knock out, legal trouble, betrayal, and a media eager to document every misstep. Yet even in the darkest periods, Tyson's presence remained magnetic, his story captivating for its rawness and unpredictability. Fans didn't just want to watch his fights. They wanted to understand the man who could dominate the heavyweight division and collapse so spectacularly, sometimes in the same year. But the world had yet to see the full extent of Tyson's downfall, nor could anyone predict that the most shocking plot twist in his life was still to come. Despite earning over $430 million during his career, an amount that swells to more than $700 million when adjusted for inflation, Mike Tyson found himself utterly broke by 2003, shocking the world with a public bankruptcy filing that revealed $23 million in debt. For a man who had once signed multi-million-dollar contracts with HBO and Showtime, who routinely earned $20 to $30 million per fight, and who lived in palatial estates surrounded by tigers and Bentleys, the collapse was not only financial but symbolic. His downfall was a brutal reminder of what happens when unchecked spending meets poor financial guidance and predatory management. Tyson wasn't just buying cars and watches. He was throwing $400,000 birthday parties, gifting luxury vehicles to friends, and bleeding money on an entourage that drained him dry. Reports surfaced of his manager Don King allegedly skimming millions, and his lavish lifestyle spiraled into an addiction to excess. He owned more than 100 luxury vehicles, maintained multiple estates, kept pet tigers that cost $125,000 annually to feed and care for, and adorned himself with jewelry worth more than most people's life savings. Yet with every flashy purchase came a missed opportunity to secure his future. By the time the debts overwhelmed him, Tyson's empire had crumbled, and creditors were lining up to claim what remained. His fall from grace wasn't just a tabloid sensation. It became a cultural moment, dissected by financial analysts, journalists, and sports historians alike. The world watched a living legend unravel, questioning how someone so powerful, so revered, could fall so hard. But Tyson, ever the fighter, wasn't done yet. What looked like the final round turned out to be the prelude to an unbelievable comeback. During his peak, Mike Tyson's love for real estate mirrored his taste for spectacle. Massive, ornate, and unapologetically over the top. One of his earliest acquisitions was a sprawling mansion in Southington, Ohio. A jaw-dropping palace filled with gold-plated bathrooms, black marble tiles, and party rooms designed to dazzle. At its height, the estate resembled something out of a movie, complete with indoor pools, glass-walled spas, and wooden sheds built to host grand celebrations. But time wasn't kind to the property. After Tyson's bankruptcy, the once lavish estate fell into disrepair, eventually being purchased for $1.1 million by a church in 2014 and transformed into a religious sanctuary, a poetic conversion of chaos into calm. But that wasn't his only palace. Tyson also lived in a mansion in Farmington, Connecticut, later sold to rapper 50 Cent, that featured 19 bedrooms, 6 kitchens, a nightclub for 2,000 guests, an indoor pool, basketball courts, and even a recording studio. He had another luxurious property in Bethesda, Maryland, where he famously walked his pet tiger around the backyard, and one in Florida to be close to his tennis-playing daughter. His current residence in Henderson, Nevada's elite Seven Hills neighborhood is a $2.5 million modern mansion filled with lush gardens, exotic birds, multi-level fountains, and a pristine infinity pool. With over 8,100 square feet, it's a testament to his rebirth. A fighter once broken, now surrounded by beauty. Each house in Tyson's timeline tells a chapter of extravagance, loss, and reinvention. From opulence to abandonment and back again, the homes mirror the man. Extreme, unforgettable, and always larger than life. If homes told the story of where Mike Tyson lived, his cars revealed how he moved through life. Fast, loud, and dripping in excess. At the height of his fame, Tyson amassed a fleet of more than 100 luxury vehicles, transforming his garages into shrines of speed and status. His taste was unapologetically grand. Multiple Rolls-Royces, including the Ghost, Corniche, Phantom, and Wraith, each worth upwards of $300,000. Bentleys were practically a staple, including the rare Continental SC and the striking Continental. T Lamborghinis like the Super Diablo Twin Turbo and a jaw-dropping Jaguar XJ 220, valued over $600,000, shared space with Cadillacs, G-Wagons, and a Ferrari F50, a legendary V12 beast that could hit 202 miles per hour and fetch over $1 million today. Tyson didn't just drive his cars. He made them part of his identity, flaunting them at events, gifting them to friends, and often crashing them in bouts of wild living. He once gave away multiple cars to people in his inner circle, a symbol of both his generosity and his financial recklessness. These weren't just vehicles. They were declarations of power, success, and invincibility. But as the debts mounted and bankruptcy loomed, many of those cars were auctioned off, vanishing into private collections and leaving behind the echo of a man who once had it all. Even today, Tyson's car collection is spoken of with awe, a reflection of a time when the baddest man on the planet didn't just knock people out. He left rubber marks on every street he rolled down. While most celebrities splurge on fashion and first-class flights, Mike Tyson took extravagance to a surreal level, buying 3 Bengal tigers as pets, each costing him a staggering $70,000 and requiring an additional $125,000 per year in care and feeding. These weren't symbolic status animals kept in the background. They were Tyson's real companions, often spotted lounging around his estates or walking beside him on leashes, capturing the media's attention like something out of a Hollywood fantasy. The image of Tyson with his tigers became legendary, cementing his reputation as someone who didn't just flirt with excess, he embraced it fully. But the tigers were just the tip of the iceberg. His obsession with luxury also extended to his wrist, where Rolexes, Hublots, and diamond-encrusted timepieces glittered like trophies of conquest. He owned a Rolex Daytona in white gold worth $40,000, a Hublot Big Bang WBC edition for $33,000, and even a diamond bracelet and watch combo valued at $630,000. A piece so outrageously expensive, it could have purchased a small house. On top of that, Tyson's 30th birthday party, an infamous $400,000 bash attended by 700 celebrity guests, was a symbol of his ability to throw away money with jaw-dropping ease. He wasn't just a spender. He was a spectacle. Every outfit, every vehicle, every piece of jewelry was curated to scream dominance, wealth, and unfiltered bravado. And let's not forget his custom-designed hot tubs, sprawling home gyms, and frequent use of private chefs and stylists. But, as thrilling as this display of power was, it was also a financial time bomb ticking in the background. Tyson's lifestyle became unsustainable, and as his fights began to slow down, the bills didn't. Still, in the public imagination, this era of Tyson's life remains unforgettable. A man living without boundaries, owning the world, and daring anyone to stop him. Long after his final championship bout, when most athletes would have faded into obscurity, Mike Tyson re-emerged, not just as a former fighter, but as a full-blown entrepreneur leading one of the most surprising comebacks in sports history. At the heart of this reinvention is Tyson 2.0, his cannabis empire which now spans premium edibles, flower, and wellness products sold across the US and Canada. Far from a gimmick, the business is booming. Its Instagram page alone boasts over 270,000 followers, and Tyson himself has become a spokesperson for cannabis healing and mental health, openly discussing how the plant helped him deal with pain, trauma, and even rage. But Tyson 2.0 is just one of several pillars in his financial resurgence. His YouTube channel has exploded to nearly 4 million subscribers, where podcasts, training clips, and brutally honest interviews have gone viral. On Instagram, he commands a digital army of more than 34.5 million followers, making him not just a boxing legend, but a social media powerhouse. Through these platforms, Tyson now markets his merchandise line, selling boxing gear, apparel, and collectibles that fly off the virtual shelves. What makes this version of Tyson so compelling is how self-aware he's become. No longer just the baddest man on the planet, he's a businessman who has faced his demons, confronted his past, and monetized his narrative in a way that resonates with both young fans and longtime supporters. He's appeared in movies, lent his image to video games, and continued exhibition fights that net him millions, all while preaching personal growth and financial discipline. Tyson's ability to turn scandal into success and pain into profit is more than impressive. It's revolutionary, and with Tyson 2.0 now expanding globally, this second act may end up being even more lucrative than his first. If there's one thing that hasn't changed about Mike Tyson, it's his appetite for the finer things in life, and that includes how he travels. Tyson has been frequently seen flying aboard the Bombardier Global Express BD 700, a private jet known for its luxurious interior, intercontinental range, and staggering $10,000 per hour charter cost. This isn't your standard celebrity plane ride. It's Tyson maintaining the aura of a man who still commands elite spaces, even after decades in the public eye. But jets are only one piece of his post-boxing hustle. Tyson has also carved out a surprising role in the world of dietary supplements, partnering with LF*Go to launch a line of performance-focused wellness products. The collaboration was more than just a branding deal. It was a sign of Tyson's expanding business acumen, recognizing the growing health market and putting his personal brand behind it. Meanwhile, Hollywood hasn't let go of its fascination with him. Tyson has continued to make appearances in films, voice roles in animated series, and even hosted his own podcast with celebrity guests that often makes headlines for its raw, unfiltered commentary. Exhibition matches, like the massively hyped bout against Jake Paul, have turned into media events that generate millions in revenue, while also helping Tyson control the narrative of his legacy. He's no longer just a retired athlete doing endorsements. He's a full-blown entertainment entity with tentacles in every profitable lane imaginable. Whether stepping onto a jet, launching a new product, or cracking jokes on screen, Tyson moves with the confidence of a man who's not just surviving, but thriving, once again in control of his public image, his businesses, and most importantly, his future. After losing nearly everything in the early 2000s, Mike Tyson's financial resurrection is nothing short of miraculous. From a staggering $700 million earned throughout his fighting career to declaring bankruptcy with $23 million in debt, Tyson has clawed his way back into the world of multimillionaires. Today, estimates place his net worth at a conservative $20 million, though many speculate it could be much higher when accounting for private investments, ongoing brand deals, and residual revenue from his media properties. The $20 million payday from his 2024 Jake Paul fight alone breathed new life into his bank account, but it's his diversified portfolio that shows just how far he's come from the reckless days of unchecked spending. Tyson 2.0 continues to expand in the competitive cannabis market, while his YouTube and social platforms provide monthly income streams most influencers would envy. Merchandising, exhibition bouts, paid appearances, movie royalties, and partnerships all contribute to a financial model that is stable, scalable, and smartly run. This is a far cry from the man who once famously admitted he didn't know where his money went. Today, Tyson surrounds himself with advisors, treats his image like an asset, and invests in brands that reflect his new identity. A warrior turned businessman. Unlike many athletes who burn through fortunes and vanish, Tyson turned his own collapse into a case study in strategic rebranding. While he may never touch his original earnings again, the version of Tyson we see today isn't chasing wealth for fame. It's legacy he's after. And with the machine he's built, that legacy looks more bulletproof than ever. Asterisk. Mike Tyson's life is more than just a tale of boxing belts, brutal knockouts, and viral scandals. It's a story of extreme transformation, of falling hard and rising harder, of navigating the price of fame and surviving its consequences. From a troubled teen in Brooklyn's toughest neighborhoods to the youngest heavyweight champion in history, Tyson was never supposed to make it this far. Yet he did. Then came the scandals, the prison time, the bankruptcy, the chaos, and it seemed like Tyson's story had taken a tragic turn that would bury his legend in tabloid shame. But that wasn't the end. In an era where cancelled stars often disappear for good, Tyson did the unthinkable. He rebuilt. Today, he stands not just as a cultural icon, but as proof that reinvention is possible at any stage of life. He turned his pain into purpose, his failures into fuel, and his fame into financial power. Whether through his booming cannabis business, million-dollar exhibition fights, or brutally honest public persona, Tyson has redefined what it means to be a comeback king. His story is no longer just about the ring. It's about redemption, resilience, and the refusal to stay down. And, in 2025, that may be his greatest victory of all.